6 of the Pins and Needle podcast. My name is Zoe. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Pins and Needles UK. Check the drop box down below. I've got all of the details for show notes and things that I talk about are linked down there, as is my email, my coffee account. I've set that up so you can buy me a coffee now if you like, although obviously it will in fact be tea that you're keeping me in, not coffee. You can sign up to my newsletter, you can find my Ravelry designer store, everything is linked down below. I'm in a different place again. When I very first started recording podcasts, I started recording in the back room, and that's where I am today. Everything is a bit topsy-turvy at the moment, and I've been dithering trying to find a good time to record, and it turns out there just isn't going to be one, so I'm just going for it. So yeah, this is the back room in my house. You can see my son's got his Xbox there in an armchair, and then this is my big Kallax unit and things, and there's the Cartref Yarn stock in the background. And just in the last couple of weeks, Dave, Conrad, my eldest son, and I had a really good going over of this room, and we took out an enormous leather sofa. I had 2 filing cabinets in that alcove. I've been through all the paperwork and sorted that out, and I had like a short office bookcase in here. Cleared all of that out, rebuilt this Kallax unit that had been in a pile upstairs in the spare room for a while, and just got everything, well, it's not completely sorted, but got rid of all the junk, did the first round of organising for everything else. So this is now the Knit Tea Retreat and Cartref Yarn HQ, and it has been for about a week. And now, because of the whole coronavirus thing, this is shortly to become a gym. I'll go into more of that later on in the chat section at the end. But for now, welcome. I made it back, I think probably a week late again. This tea is just about to be too cold to drink, so bear with. But here I am. It's Sunday the 22nd of March. In the UK, it's Mother's Day. And I don't suppose many of us are going to get to see our mums. My mum and dad are up in Stratford-on-Avon, and I won't get to see her today because we're all staying away from each other because of COVID-19. But I did give her a ring and told her that she was fabulous and I loved her very much. And Max made me a card yesterday, my smallest boy, and he also found me a small plastic goose. Why not, I suppose? And to celebrate the day, I've been hoovering and doing laundry. But Dave did promise to make me a really nice roast pork dinner and apple crumble for pudding, so that will be great. Let's crack on with it, shall we? Okie doke. Oh yes, first of all, what I'm wearing. This is my Stasis jumper, which is a pattern by Leila Raab for Brooklyn Tweed, and I knitted it in Debbie Bliss Rialto 4-ply. I can't remember the colourway numbers, but they're all in my project page on Ravelry, so you can look that up. And it came out a little larger than I liked, but overall I'm really pleased with it. So it's perfect for this sort of slightly chilly spring weather. I'm sat looking out over the back garden and the rhubarb patch, and it's brassic out there, but it's blue skies and very windy, so I've had lots of laundry on the line today. I do actually have a finished object. I finished Jocelyn's socks that I was waving at you the last time, but she promptly put them on her feet and she's worn them 4 times and taken them to school for PE lessons, and I thought about getting her to find them to show you, but I don't think you want to see them anymore. So you'll just have to take it on trust that they are finished and they fit her and she's thrilled with them. So unfortunately, I think that means I've got another person to add to my list of people that expect socks every year. So that's Dave, Jocelyn, my mum and my dad. So that's 4 pairs of socks for other people as a minimum. Although mum is now busy knitting her own socks, so maybe I can knit her something else. Right, works in progress. First up, I have a new cast on. This is in my cute Harry Potter thimble and thread bag. This is cast on / acquisitions. I think I've mentioned before that my mum is a keen dancer and she goes to some classes, and a couple of times a year she and all of her group of friends go away for a dancing weekend, and there's always a trip out to the local attractions or the shopping centres and things like that. And one of the last times she was out and about, they were in a craft store. I don't know if it was Hobbycraft or what, but she spotted a big basket full of discount sock yarn. So she picked, well, she didn't really pick me up, she picked my dad up some future socks. And this is the one that I've chosen to cast on with, and it's Regia Tweed Colour 4-ply, and this colourway is 07491. Now, I didn't read the label before I cast on with it, so I missed it was supposed to be tweed. And I mean, yes, it's tweed. Can you see there's little neps of colour in it? But they're not quite often or obvious enough to make it look deliberate. So I was knitting away thinking, oh, there's a bit of fluff. It's snagged on something. But then I realised it was tweed, so that's fine. I am knitting these on 2.25mm needles. At the moment, they're on double points. That's my favourite way to knit. I was going for some blood tests the other week and I realised I didn't have any super easy knitting on the needles. So I grabbed the ball and the needles, shoved them in a bag and ran. And I just cast on 80 stitches and I knit 15 rounds of 2x2 rib and thought, well, I'll worry about the pattern later. But it does mean that I'm having to knit off this irritating shaped skein of yarn, which was my absolute least favourite way of managing my yarn. So I think what I will do is cut the yarn and rewind it into a cake. I'd rather weave in 2 extra ends than have a flip-flopping ball of yarn for the whole pair of socks. So yes, that's how far I've got. I rather like the colourway. It's knitting up nicely. And I don't suppose you'll be able to tell, but I did another German twisted cast on. Super stretchy and much tidier than my normal long tail. So yeah, I cast this on in the waiting room at Barry Hospital the other day, waiting for my blood test. And I managed to get in, have my blood test and get out again. And the only thing I touched was my knitting and the little paper ticket. Our phlebotomy department, it feels a bit like the cheese counter at Tesco's. You know, we have to take a paper ticket and then someone shouts for your number. It's the same system. So I had my cheese deli ticket. I was number 64. But yeah, I was there for a good hour and managed to get through the whole cuff. That was last week and I haven't touched it since, but I did have a noodle around for a pattern. And I think these are going to become a pair of Crunkled socks by K.F. Jones. That's Kay of the Bakery Bears, if any of you watch her podcast. And I've knit a pair of her socks before. I can't remember which pattern. But this is one of her most recent releases. And I saw it on her podcast and I just thought it looked really nice. It's a knit pearl pattern that just sort of crunkles up the fabric and makes it look a bit poofy. So it's brainless enough I can do it without thinking about it, but interesting enough to keep me going. I am probably going to do some contrast toes just for fun, but I'll worry about that when I get down there. So that pair of socks is my sort of on-the-go knitting, out and about knitting, although I don't think there'll be much out and about at the moment. Small interlude. What's that, lovely?
I'm going to go for a walk.
Oh, well, your trainers are soaking wet because I just washed them.
Sport shoes?
Yes, fine. All right, don't lick anyone.
I will not.
That was Max. He's off out for some fresh air. Yes, that was the socks. The most knitting that I've been doing recently has been on my cardigan. Oh, I'm obsessed with this. I showed you this last time. It is the Little Waves pattern by Gudrun Johnston. It was a pattern she designed for Brooklyn Tweed, and I've just been going like crazy on it. It's been such a long time since I've made anything in DK weight yarn. You forget how quickly it goes. So I'm at the end of my second skein, and I'm knitting this in our yarn, Cartref DK, in the undyed colourway, which is called Naturiol. And if anyone doesn't know, my friend Jenny, who is Owl About Yarn, and I run Cartref Yarn. And our marketing strapline is From Farm to Yarn in Wales. So it's our own line of 100% Welsh yarn. And look how far I've got. I think when I showed you the last time, I'd just done the pocket and I'd done a little bit more. But now I'm not actually that far off the armpits. I think I've got one more repeat to do. But you can see the garter panel in the side. Can you see it comes in and then back out again? This pattern has a men's option with no waist shaping and a ladies option with. I'm doing the with option. So you can just see the shaping there. And look at that. Oh, I love it. So yeah, I think I've got one more repeat to do, and then I'm going to hold it up to myself and see if I want to knit it any longer. I don't like particularly long jumpers. If I'm not careful, they hit a rather unflattering point at my widest point of my hips. But I've been really enjoying it, and I'm nearly at the end of my second skein. Can you see where I joined in the first one? Nearly at the end of my second skein and almost at the armpits. Once I'm at the armpits, I put this on hold and then knit sleeves. And then it's when I join them together, it's a saddle shoulder, which I've never done before. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'll need to double check my row gauge because my stitch count was fine, but then I went down a needle size to get a slightly smaller circumference. And I'm thinking row gauge will be quite important for a saddle shoulder, so I don't want to end up with something that hangs off me. But yeah, I've been really enjoying that. It's just a nice soothing knit, and it's one of the ones, it's twisted stitches, not cables. So once you've looked at the start of the pattern directions, you can just knit the whole row without thinking about it. So I've been busily knitting away on that. I had originally planned to try and get this finished for Wonderwool, which is the biggest yarn show in Wales. It's our absolute favourite, and it takes place in the Royal Welsh Showground up in Builth, If you draw a dot in the middle of Wales, that's where Builth is. And it's the show that we launched Cartref Yarn at last year. Jenny and I have sold there with Jenny's yarn at Owl About Yarn for several years now. And we have some new and exciting Cartref Yarn things that we were going to launch. But with the whole coronavirus thing, Wonderwool has been cancelled and we're very sad about it. So the pressure's off for the cardigan knitting, but I'm just enjoying doing it so much. I'm carrying on regardless. Those are the only two works in progress I have. I'd love to cast on a million more things, but I'm really trying to just rein myself in a bit. I've got some designs on my needles that I really ought to be getting on with, and I haven't. So maybe I'll be able to find a bit more time soon. I have got the final instalment of my acquisitions to show you. It's taken me, I think, 3 podcasts to get through it all. And this has been stuff that I've had since, goodness, Christmas, I think. And I think this is actually the last of it. There is one more ball. Oh, it's Jim the dog. Hello, Jim the dog. Do you want to be on my vlog? Maybe if I tilt the camera. Hey, Jim. You going to say hello to the viewers? Yeah. He's a good boy. There you are. Little cameo by Jim the dog. Yeah, when my mum bought that Regia I showed you for my socks in progress, she bought 2 colourways of it, and that's the other one. There you go. Nice dark colours. And that's colourway 07496. So, yeah, the socks I've got on the needles at the moment will be for Dad. And I might knit these for Dad as well, or I might knit these for Dave and use a different skein of yarn for Dad's next set of socks. We shall see. Oh, Christmas present. I have a friend called Kathy who is Shake Your Booties on Instagram and on Ravelry. She's my tech editor as well as a friend, so if anyone is looking for a tech editor, do give her a shout. And she sent me a really kind Christmas parcel. There was a nice tea towel with Australian flora on it. She lives in America but is actually Australian. And there was a big fridge magnet that says, "Be nice or leave." So I put that on my fridge. And there was also this beautiful skein of yarn. It's Nice and Knit DK. It's Superwash Merino in the colourway Nantucket. And that's showing up really beautifully, actually. Really nice. Nice high twist on it, and a really lovely colour. I'm thinking that might have to be mittens. I've decided that all of my mittens I don't like. I knit myself a couple of Skein Deer mittens from her first Selby Mitten Club, and whilst I love the designs, they've got a stupid thumb. They've got the thumb that comes out of your palm, and my thumb actually doesn't grow out of the middle of my palm, so I find them a bit irritating to wear. So I need to replace my mittens in time for this next winter, and I think this might have to be part of my Operation Mitten. Next up, again a Christmas present from my friend Melissa, who is based out in California. And continuing the tea towel theme is a California tea towel. It's a square shape. Tea towels are normally rectangular, but this has come out a square shape. And it's got all the different bits and pieces on it, sort of national monuments. It's got national parks, Sierra Nevada mountains, Mojave Desert, San Diego Mission. So that's quite good fun. I haven't used it yet. I've been keeping it all nice to show you. She also sent me this beautiful skein of yarn. This is Knit Picks Hawthorn fingering weight in the colour Alameda. You can see it there. And it's these beautiful lilacs and blues. And I absolutely love it. You can see I caked it up, and I'm in the process. One of the things I'm designing is the October Knit Tea Retreat pattern for the booklet. And I wanted to knit it in this. So I caked it up and started. But then I realised I should be knitting it in the same yarn that we will be giving away in the gift bags and the meterage. Although both yarns will be 4-ply weight, the yardage is too different for me to have it comparable. So I ripped it out and wound it up. So I will design them with some Owl About yarn 4-ply and knit myself a pair of these. She also sent me this rather fabulous Christmas Labrador wreath tin tray, which I absolutely love. Isn't that sweet? I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might just put it on my mantelpiece of nice things and look at it from every now and then. But it's really sweet, and it rather does look like Jim the dog. Look at that dog's face. That dog is unamused by being Christmased up. Last and final tea towel was a gift from Agnes, Veronica and Nomi, and they are the 3 people that are the F This Knit podcast. If you don't listen, go and find them. They're on iTunes. I think I use Podcast Republic, but I can find them through there as well. As you can gather from the title, it is a sweary podcast, and there is one swear on this tea towel. So if you are sensitive or you have children around, just give me 5 seconds and I'll tell you when it's over. But the tea towel is absolutely lovely. Okay, no swears, no swears. Ready yourself, bit of a swear. You're doing ... dotting great. Okay, safe. But yeah, it's a really lovely print and nice to have one that's a dark colour. And that made me laugh, that they thought I was doing brilliant and thought I needed it on a tea towel. And yeah, they sent me a nice Christmas card to go with it. So thank you very much, girls. Last, but by no means least, I bought Love Sewing magazine issue 78, which looks like that. I'm not sure if it's still available in shops. I'm not sure how regularly they come out, if it's a monthly thing or not, but that's the one I bought. And the reason I bought it is it comes with Tilly and the Buttons Juno pyjamas. Now, I've been needing some new pyjamas for ages, and these are just the sort I like. It's light jersey fabric, and it's got a light jersey cuffed ankle as well, and they're my favourite. So when I bought the magazine, it has the booklet for the instructions, but it also has full-size pattern sheets that came with it as well, which I was really pleased with. So that's the only reason I bought the magazine. The other free patterns that came with it is McCall's M7906, some rather nice skirt patterns, and a thread counts pattern, TC2002, 4-in-1 trousers, some nice high-waisted trousers. So quite nice patterns, you know, good value for money. I think the magazine's £6. Oh no, it was £10, but even so, £10 for 3 patterns. As for the magazine itself, I don't know, there's a lot of adverts in it. There's a lot of very basic information in, sort of things at the back telling you how to read a pattern and stuff like that, which is great, but you only really need that once. So this is just advertising. I shall be recycling it now that I've shown it to you. Yeah, and that is all my acquisitions. Many tea towels, Labrador tins, and lovely yarn. Just hit myself in the face with yarn. So there you go. Finally through all of my acquisitions. Thank goodness. I can tuck everything away now. And finally, we are on to chat. So if you're not interested in the chat, I completely understand. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And for those that do stick around, here is what I've been up to. The last time we spoke, I think I mentioned the absolutely awful weather we've been having, and my house started leaking in a few places. So we had to contact a roofer. My next door neighbour is a builder, so I get in touch with him and he gives me recommendations. So Matthew the roofer came round and they threw scaffolding up the front of the house and mostly fixed the leaks. We've got like a decorative bit of corbelling that goes all the way along the front of the house, and the ceiling, like the sealant had gone on that and the concrete was coming away. So I was literally getting water running down the inside of my dining room windows and down one of the interior walls in the front room, which was also right over a light socket. So Matthew came out, scaffolding went up, and he sort of weatherproofed and fixed all the way along this corbelling. And then when Dave just said to him, "Oh, talk me through the work you've done," we realised he'd forgotten to actually seal the front of the dining room windows. So hopefully he'll be coming back to do that. But yeah, we had scaffolding, well, we've still got the scaffolding up the front of the house, and my bedroom's at the front of the house, and the front room and the dining room are at the front of the house. And then my neighbour Shay was coming around the back of my house through the garden with some building materials to do his patio, because it was easier than taking it through his house. So I had strange men, although they were all lovely, front and side and back of my house for about 3 days, and I was just constantly on pins. I jump really easily, and so every time I caught someone out of the corner of my eye, I was like, and then I realised it was just the roofer. Anyway, that's all done. It was not cheap. This is not the time to be spending all of one's spare money, obviously, but we really just had to go ahead with it. But it didn't have hurt handing him a massive envelope of cash. But it had to be done. So there's the roofing. What else are we up to? Oh, Jenny and I have done loads more dyeing for Cartref Yarn. That entire stack is Cartref Yarn there. We haven't quite finished, but I wanted to make sure that Jenny could take all of the dyeing equipment home so she could get on with All About Yarn dyeing. And we were waiting for a few more colours, and we use acid dyes, and we placed an order with our supplier, who are notoriously slow and unreliable. So there was a couple of colourways we couldn't finish off together because we didn't have all the colours we needed. She's still waiting on the delivery. But never mind, she's taken some undyed skeins home with her and she'll finish off the last few bits. So hopefully we'll have a full colour palette for when we go online. My kids are home from school. Thursday of this week, the Prime Minister announced that the schools would be closing. So Friday was the first day I had all 3 of my children home. Conrad is doing supposed to have been doing his GCSEs this summer, so he'll be turning 16. And he's a bit disappointed. I think that they're going to be awarding them grades based on their mock GCSE results and on their predicted grades and on sort of teacher assessment. So he'll be absolutely fine. He's a smart boy and he's been working hard the whole year along. So he'll come out with grades that reflect what he would have got in his exams. But I do feel a bit sorry for those kids that sort of make a big effort at the end and drag themselves up. I don't know, if they might miss out a bit. But it's how it's got to be because of the whole coronavirus thing. So, que sera. We have had to shut the gym, which is absolutely heartbreaking, actually. Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, does his daily updates at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was at home with the kids and Dave was on shift with clients and Boris Johnson said, you have to close the gyms. So we didn't let any more people into the gym. The ones that were already there were allowed to finish their workouts and we shut the door at 7:30 p.m. And I think we'll be fine. The gym is our pretty much only source of income. I have Cartref Yarn in the retreat, but it's our main source of income. And we've been told to close indefinitely. Hopefully it will just be 3 months. I think we'll be okay. The government support measures will help us keep our staff on and things like that. But it is worrying. But what is absolutely heartbreaking is all the people that can't come and train. And I don't just mean from a keeping fit and healthy point of view, but Dave's gym is, I don't know if you've seen Dodgeball, the film, and Average Joe's. That's a bit like what my gym is like. And we're a second home for a lot of people. And a lot of our members, that's their social life, that's their friendship group. They're training for mental health as much as anything else. And we mean a great deal to them and they're our friends. And so it's really hard to have to close the doors on them for an unknown amount of time. It's really hard. And it was also quite sudden. We recorded a little video explaining what was happening and why and put it up on the gym Facebook page. And then it got even harder because people were sending us so many lovely messages of support and condolence and just saying how much the gym meant to them. And there were people who were members before but have moved away. So they cancelled their membership like 6 or 7 years ago. And they've been messaging us saying, can I set up a direct debit again? I know I can't come and train, but I just want to send you some money because I want you to keep going. I want you to be there when all this is over. Oh, people are just so nice. So we are now all at home. I'm expecting the UK to go into proper lockdown in the next couple of days, which will mean a lot of changes around the house. As well as homeschooling 3 children, we're going to try and set this room up as a home gym so that we can provide online content for our members and things like that. I'm hoping to do some vlogs. I'd like it to be daily, but I'll just have to see how it goes because as you can imagine, I've got an awful lot to do. And if any of you have any suggestions of things you'd like me to cover in the vlogs or questions, I could do a Q&A if you're interested. Do let me know. Either leave it in the comments or send me a direct message. And I will keep knitting because if I don't keep knitting, I'm going to go mad. Right, I'm going to have to call it a day there because I need to start moving all of this stuff so that we can lay matting down and bring in a couple of powerlifting bars and some bumper plates. So thank you very much for watching. Please check down below for details of everything and all the rest of it. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow.